My name is Robert Cornelius, and my topic is cancel.
And are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Josh Lagorin, are you ready?
Yes!
Right Club audience, are you ready? Yes! Then it's Robert Cornelius for cancel in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Cancel. A powerful word. I've been thinking a lot about what that means since this opportunity came up and what the word means to me specifically. The word gets a bad rap. There are negative connotations to the word cancel. Cancel culture comes to mind. When I was younger, I used to cancel a lot of plans, which was irresponsible, but I was young and foolish. I partied a lot and didn't really consider other people's feelings when I did. That was a long time ago, and over the years, I became much more reliable and considerate, and ultimately a better friend. A lot of this came up as I was contemplating how to approach the topic and realized that the word actually gave me power, a power I didn't realize I had. I remember that 6 years ago today, on my father's birthday, who would be 91 today, and what was MLK Day that year, I made a cancellation that really opened my eyes. It has been a lesson in how to take better care of myself, and it is wild that this battle is happening on the anniversary of the cancellation that ultimately changed my life for the better. Friendships can be messy and complicated and difficult, which they should not be. I never fight with my friends. It is unhealthy at best and toxic at its worst. At some point comes a time when you have to make a decision on whether or not it is worth the effort. You don't consider this when you are in the young, but your circle of friends gets smaller as you get older and more set in your ways when you feel more comfortable in your skin. I was in the midst of a 36-year friendship that had had a lot of ups and downs. We waited tables together. We were club kids together. We traveled together. I had let the friendship go on more than one occasion, but always broke down and let him back in, never realizing the consequences I created for myself. I put up with a lot of nonsense over the years that should have opened my eyes time and time again, but because of the history, I always gave in. He was a bad drunk. He was always picking on whoever in order to make himself feel better. I sang at his father's funeral. He left my father's before it was over. We had planned on renting an apartment together, and he dodged me while he was renting an apartment with another friend, which I found out the day they were moving in. He separated himself from our circle of friends and expected me to do the same, which I never did. He was in an unhappy, off-and-on relationship that seemed more of a convenience for both of them than an actual partnership. Stuff like that. I mean, there were all kinds of signs. On this day, 6 years ago, I had a lunch planned with this friend. That morning, my car was acting up. As I was starting rehearsals for a play the next day, the rehearsals were on the other side of town, I decided to cancel that lunch to get my car looked at. The friend did not respond well to this cancellation. He started texting me all day and calling over and over, calls I didn't answer. And the final straw, as I was standing in a garage with the mechanic and a propane heater in 27-degree weather, yes, I remember, he left a voicemail that said, "We both know your car didn't break down." I know. I snapped. My friend had crossed the line calling me a liar while I was out there freezing my ass off. I led my response with, "Fuck off." I had a few more choice words and proceeded to block him from my life. And an interesting thing happened. I felt like a weight had been lifted. It was a relief. It served as a moment of clarity. Since that day, I have focused more on myself. That year, I started therapy for many reasons, but mainly for the trauma and PTSD that came up during the pandemic. But this friendship, or the end of it, was the first thing I talked about with my therapist and how much of a burden that friendship had been on me. When you're in the middle of it, you don't see it. But that cancellation gave me the opportunity to see who I was without that burden, and I flourished. The next year, I started teaching at Roosevelt while I was doing a remount of the same play that we had to cancel because of the pandemic. I started to do work all over the country and opened up so many opportunities for myself that are still happening today, and I know for certain the decision I made for myself is the reason. I tried over and over to figure out what it was that changed in me from the experience that day, what freeing myself from that ugliness opened up in me. That cancellation made me realize that I was not putting myself first, that I was going through the motions for something that I should have let go a long time ago. My mother always says, everyone has a season. At some point, it is better just to let go for your health, well-being, and peace. We don't recognize our powers a lot of the time because there's always somebody trying to block it. About 6 weeks ago, this friend passed away, just 2 months after his partner. There was chaos with his partner's family, which upended his life, and he deteriorated rapidly. A lot of people I hadn't talked to in years reached out to me because of our shared history, not knowing that we hadn't spoken in 6 years. I even had to let some of our mutual friends know about his passing, which was weird for me. The memorial service was Saturday the 10th. I grappled with the decision of whether to go or not. I would get to see some friends and have some closure, I thought. As I got closer, I started to feel uneasy about it, not knowing what kind of stories he had been telling about me, and I know there were stories, or what his family and our mutual friends knew about what happened. I ultimately chose not to go, feeling like it would be disingenuous for me to do so, and when I made that decision, the anxiety went away. I am at peace with that decision. I realized I had said my goodbyes 6 years ago when I made a cancellation that changed my life for the better. I hope he has found peace as well.